Have you ever just stopped to think about our role on this planet? It kind of feels like we own the place, right? But what if we've got it all wrong? Today, we're exploring a concept that flips that whole idea on its head, suggesting we're not owners at all, but caretakers of a sacred trust.
I mean, it's a huge question, and it really defines how we live. Do we see the Earth's resources as just ours for the taking, an entitlement? Or is our role something deeper, a duty to look after it? You know, the answer to that changes everything.
And the Islamic tradition offers this really powerful answer in a single word, Khilāfah. Now, this isn't about dominion or being the boss. It's all about stewardship. It's this core idea that our being here is a sacred appointment, a responsibility to care for the earth on behalf of a higher authority.
So to really get what this means, we're going to explore what it means for the earth to be a trust. We'll listen in on the original call to stewardship, really feel the incredible weight of that trust, see stewardship in action, and then we'll bring it home and think about your path as a steward. Okay, first things first, we have to completely shift our perspective. This is not about humanity being the master of the planet. No, the foundational principle of Khilāfah is that we are its appointed successors, not its owners.
This verse from the Qur'an is so key. Notice that word successors, not owners. That changes the game. It implies we've inherited this role, and we have a duty to pass it on. It frames our entire existence not as a privilege we earned, but as this profound responsibility we've been handed.
So, if we are successors, you gotta ask, where did this appointment come from? Well, that brings us right to the call to stewardship and its deep roots in the Qur'an. This quote is just remarkable. It's considered the very first time this whole idea shows up in the Qur'an. It's a divine declaration, an announcement of humanity's appointment as a Khalifa, a successive authority on earth. I mean, this is the origin story of our role right here. So being a Khalifa isn't just some vague title. It has these three core parts. First up, succession. We're a link in a chain, right? We receive the earth and we're responsible for passing it on. Second, trusteeship. Our actions have to be guided by a moral compass, not just whatever we feel like doing. And finally, accountability, the understanding that every single choice we make about creation, it's all going to be weighed. And this table just lays it out so clearly. The Quranic model is built on trust, this idea that the earth belongs to God, and our life here is a test of our sincerity. And that's just a world away from a model based on ownership, where using up resources becomes a right, an entitlement. But this responsibility, this Khilāfah, it doesn't just float in space. It's tied to another, inseparable idea that explains the sheer gravity of it all. And that is the amānah, the trust itself. Amānah is the trust. And it's not just about, recycling or planting trees. It is this huge, comprehensive moral responsibility. It includes upholding justice, actively resisting harm, and caring for all of creation. It's the whole package. To get a sense of just how heavy this trust is, the Qur'an paints this incredible picture. The amānah was offered to the heavens, the earth, the mountains, these immense, powerful creations, and they all said, no thanks, they were afraid of its weight. And yet, humanity accepted it. That just tells you how massive this responsibility we chose really is. So what does this trust actually ask of us? Well, it's active care for the environment. It's standing up for justice. It's resisting all that destructive stuff like waste and arrogance. And so importantly, it means consciously leaving the world better than we found it. Creating goodness for the people who come after us. Okay, so that is the powerful theory behind it all. But what does this stewardship actually look like in the real world? For that, we can turn to some really profound prophetic examples. This teaching from Prophet Muhammad is just so beautiful because it takes a simple ecological act and turns it into something deeply spiritual. Planting a tree isn't just good for the planet, it's considered an ongoing act of charity. Every single bit of life that tree sustains, whether it's for a bird, an animal, or a person, counts as a reward for the one who planted it. And this vision was so consistent. He forbade cutting down trees for no reason, even in a time of war. He encouraged planting a sapling even if you knew the world was about to end. I mean, what an incredible symbol of hope and responsibility.
He taught that a simple act of mercy, like giving water to a thirsty dog, could lead to divine forgiveness. It's a model for a life built on compassion, foresight, and real sustainability.
So all of this, it brings the concept right back to us, to you and me, right here, right now. After understanding all the theory, how do we actually walk the path of a steward in our own lives?
Let's start with this really honest question. In my daily life, my consumption habits, my whole mindset, do I act like a trustee who's been given something precious to care for? Or do I act more like an owner with an unlimited right to just use and discard?
And let's take that a step further. Do my day-to-day habits actually line up with this responsibility? Do my choices reflect care and a push against wastefulness? Or are they, contributing to the problems we see all around us?
And finally, this is maybe the most inspiring question of all. A tree gives life, shade, and food without asking for anything back. How can I be like that? How can my very existence be a source of good for the people, the animals, and the world around me? Ultimately, the path of a steward, it all starts with a single step: intention. The source material invites every one of us to make an intention, a niyyah, today, to simply make the choice to live as a conscious Khalifa in our homes, in our habits, and in our hearts. It's a small shift in our thinking that could honestly change everything. Thanks for joining this explainer.